Maya sat on the couch, staring at her phone. Her hands shook as she read the new message from her mother in the family group chat. Maya, after much thought, we've decided it's best you don't come to Christmas this year. We want a peaceful holiday. Her heart sank. A lump formed in her throat, and her chest tightened. She could see that her brother and sister had both read the message, but neither of them replied. Not even a word. Not even a defense. Her eyes filled with tears, not because she was surprised, but because it hurt in a way she already knew too well. This wasn't the first time her family had pushed her away. It had happened before in quiet, cruel ways that she had learned to smile through. But this time felt different. Something inside her shifted. A small voice whispering that maybe she was done trying. Her fiancé, Jordan, sat across from her, watching carefully. He had seen this before too. The way her family's words could break her without raising their voices. You don't have to keep begging them to love you, he said softly. Maya looked up, her eyes red, but she forced a small smile. I'm not begging, she said quietly. Not this year. She turned her phone off for a moment, breathing deeply. Then, with calm and focus, she turned it back on, opened her email app, and started typing. Subject: Christmas gift delivery, December 24th. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard for a few seconds, her mind already racing. Jordan frowned a little. What are you doing? Just sending something, Maya replied, her tone even. But there was something in her eyes, something firm, almost peaceful. Jordan didn't ask again. He knew that look. It wasn't anger or spite. It was the look of someone who had finally decided to stop waiting for permission to be at peace. Maya sat in silence after sending the email, her thoughts spinning. She didn't know what her plan was yet, only that this time, she wouldn't cry herself to sleep or beg for a seat at their table. She stared out the window as snow began to fall outside, soft and quiet. The world looked calm, but inside her, a storm had settled into something stronger, resolve. For years she had sent cards, made calls, and tried to fix what was broken. Every year, she hoped things would be different. But this message, this final rejection, felt like a door closing for good. Maya glanced at Jordan, who reached out and held her hand. Whatever you're planning, he said gently. Just promise me it's for you. She nodded slowly. It is. The phone screen dimmed, the room grew quiet, and somewhere deep inside, Maya began to write the first line of a new chapter in her life. Something had changed, and this Christmas, she wasn't going to be the one left hurting. Maya's family always looked perfect from the outside. Their house was big, their smiles and pictures were bright, and people often said, the Reynolds family has it all. But inside those walls, things were very different. Her mother, Evelyn, cared more about what people thought than how her children felt. Everything had to look proper, every word carefully spoken, every outfit perfect. We don't show weakness, she used to say whenever Maya cried. Tears make people think we're broken. Her father, Richard, was gentle but always busy. He worked long hours and was rarely home. When he was around, the house felt warmer. He was the only one who really listened to Maya. But even he couldn't stop Evelyn from controlling everything. Caleb, Maya's older brother, was the golden boy. He could do no wrong. When he broke something, it was an accident. When Maya did the same, it was carelessness. Grace, their younger sister, followed their mother's lead and copied everything she did. Maya, on the other hand, was different. Too emotional, too honest, too sensitive, as her mother would say. Whenever there was a problem in the house, Evelyn found a way to blame Maya. If Caleb was caught lying, it was because Maya provoked him. If Grace got in trouble at school, Evelyn said Maya was a bad influence. Maya grew up feeling like she was always wrong. Even when she was right, things got worse after their father died. His death left a huge hole in the family, but instead of coming together, they fell apart. When the lawyer read the will, it was clear their father had left something special for each of them. But soon after, Evelyn accused Maya of stealing some important papers. Maya took them, Evelyn said sharply. She always wanted more than what's hers. Maya tried to defend herself, but Caleb backed their mother. He even showed a document that made it look like Maya had taken something. Later, she learned he had forged their father's signature to take a bigger share of the inheritance. Evelyn believed him without question. Grace stayed silent. That was the moment Maya decided to walk away. She didn't fight, didn't scream. She just packed her things and left. Keep it, she said quietly. I don't want the money. I just wanted a family. Years passed. Maya built a new life for herself. She worked at a child protection agency, helping kids who had gone through pain like hers, children who were ignored, blamed, or unloved. She found meaning in giving others the care she never received. Her colleagues admired her for her kindness. Her fiancé, Jordan, often told her she had the biggest heart he'd ever known. On the outside, she seemed strong and happy. But every Christmas the ache returned. She would buy a card, write a simple message, "Merry Christmas, love Maya," and send it to her family's home. Every year, she waited, hoping for a reply. Every year, nothing came back. One evening, as she and Jordan decorated their small apartment for Christmas, he noticed her looking at the old family photo on the table. You still send them a card, don't you? He asked gently. Maya nodded. They're my family. You don't just erase blood. Jordan sighed. Maybe not. But you don't have to keep hurting yourself for it either. Maya smiled sadly. It doesn't hurt as much anymore, she lied. But deep inside, it still did. No matter how much she tried to move on, there was a part of her that still longed to be seen, to be accepted. Not for being perfect, but for being herself. Every success she achieved, every child she helped, reminded her of what she had missed at home. Love without conditions. So when that message came from her mother, the one telling her not to come for Christmas, Maya wasn't shocked. She had always known where she stood with them. Still, something inside her changed this time. She didn't want revenge. She didn't even want pity. She just wanted peace. And this year, she was finally ready to find it, even if that meant doing something she had never done before. Stop waiting for her family to love her and show them who she really was. The real turning point comes one afternoon at Maya's office. She is talking with one of her clients, a 16-year-old foster girl named Lila. The girl has had a hard life, but she speaks with a kind of strength Maya admires. Maya is helping her prepare for an interview with a new foster family. Lila looks nervous and says, "What if they don't like me? What if they think I'm still that angry kid from before?" Maya gives her a gentle smile. "You just have to tell them who you are now," she says. But Lila shakes her head. "No, Miss Maya. Sometimes you gotta show people who you've become. Not tell them." The words stay with Maya long after Lila leaves. Show them, not tell them. That night, she sits on the couch scrolling through social media. Her family's posts fill the screen. Her mother, Evelyn, standing in front of a giant Christmas tree. Her brother Caleb smiling beside his new car. Her sister Grace posing with friends by the fireplace. Their house looks perfect, warm, and full of love. The same house where she once cried herself to sleep. Maya stares at the photos for a long time. They look so happy, so proud, so fake. No one would ever guess the truth about how they treated her. No one would know she had been cut off, blamed, and erased. She feels a familiar pain rise in her chest, but this time it doesn't crush her. Instead, an idea starts forming in her mind. Maybe Lila was right. Maybe it's time to show them. Maya closes her phone and whispers to herself, "You want peace for Christmas, Mom? Fine. I'll give you peace. My way." Over the next few days, she can't stop thinking about it. What could she give them that would finally make them see who she really is? Something that would remind them of the truth they've tried so hard to hide. Then it hits her, a gift. A Christmas gift they would never expect. She starts gathering old photo albums, letters, and papers she's kept hidden for years. Some are from her father, some from the lawyer who handled his will. She spreads them across her dining table and begins sorting through memories like puzzle pieces. Each photo tells a story. Her 10th birthday, when her mother smiled for the camera right after scolding her for crying. A picture of her father holding her hand at a park. A family Christmas photo where Caleb stood proudly with his arm around Grace, while Maya sat at the edge, half out of the frame. She feels tears sting her eyes, but she keeps going. "This isn't revenge," she says quietly to herself. "It's the truth." Jordan notices her working late one night, papers and photos scattered everywhere. "What are you doing, Maya?" he asks. She looks up at him, her face calm but serious. "I'm making a gift. For my family." He frowns slightly. "A gift? After everything they've done?" Maya nods. "Yes. But not the kind they expect." He studies her for a moment, then sighs. "Just promise me it won't hurt you." "It won't," she says softly. It's going to set me free. That night, Maya stays awake writing notes and arranging pages. She doesn't know exactly what will happen when they open it, but she knows one thing for sure: they'll finally see her. And this time, they won't be able to pretend she doesn't exist. A handmade memory book filled with old photos lay open on Maya's table. Each page carried a truth her family had tried to bury. She spent hours arranging the pictures, writing small captions under each one in her neat handwriting. One page showed her family smiling at a dinner table years ago. Underneath she wrote, "Mom, this was the night Dad found out Caleb had forged his signature. You told me to stay silent." Another page had a photo of Maya and her father sitting in the garden. He was holding her hand. Beneath it she wrote, "Dad told me the truth that day. He trusted me to do what was right." Every word hurt to write, but it also felt like healing. The truth had lived inside her for too long, trapped under the weight of her mother's lies. Maya added copies of the letters from her father's lawyer, proof that she had never stolen a thing, proof that her mother and brother had turned her into a villain to hide their own guilt. At the very end of the book, she placed one last sealed envelope. It was addressed to her mother, Evelyn Reynolds. On the front, she wrote in steady handwriting, "For your eyes only." Inside the envelope was a letter, one Maya had rewritten a dozen times. It wasn't angry. It wasn't cruel. It was honest. It told her mother everything she had wanted to say for years. She wrote about how much it had hurt to be blamed, ignored, and unloved, how she still prayed for her every Christmas, even after being pushed away. And at the end, she wrote a line that would break through every wall Evelyn had built around her heart. "I forgive you. Not because you said sorry, but because I need peace more than I need your love." When she finished, Maya sat back and stared at the book. It looked beautiful, wrapped in soft brown paper and tied with a red ribbon. But what was inside it wasn't just paper. It was her story, her pain, and her truth. As Christmas grew closer, her anxiety began to rise. Sometimes she would wake up in the middle of the night, wondering if she was doing the right thing. Jordan noticed how quiet she had become. One evening, as she sealed the package and wrote the delivery address, he finally asked, "Maya, are you sure about this? It feels like revenge." Maya looked at him for a long moment, then shook her head gently. "No," she said softly. "It's not revenge. It's closure. I need to let this go." Jordan studied her face. There was sadness there, but also calmness. "If this is what brings you peace," he said finally, "then I'll stand by you." That night, Maya dreamed of her old house. The halls filled with laughter, the Christmas lights shining bright, her father's voice calling her name. But when she turned, her mother was there, cold and silent, holding the memory book in her hands. Maya woke up trembling. The next morning, she took the package to the post office. As she handed it over, her hands shook slightly. The clerk smiled and said, "Sending a Christmas gift?" Maya forced a small smile. "Yes," she replied. "A very special one." As the package made its way to her family's home, Maya tried to focus on her work, but flashes of the past kept coming back. Her mother shouting, "You're always the problem, Maya." Her brother smirking when their father defended her. The heavy silence at the dinner table when she tried to speak. Each memory reminded her why she had to do this. Not to hurt them, but to finally set herself free. Meanwhile, at the Reynolds mansion, Christmas preparations were in full swing. Evelyn supervised the staff as they hung golden ornaments and arranged flowers. Caleb bragged about a new business deal, and Grace practiced a song she would sing at the family gathering. "Everything has to be perfect this year," Evelyn said proudly, adjusting a silver ribbon on the tree. "No drama. No tensión." She didn't know that, sitting among the piles of gifts under that same tree, a brown-wrapped box waited quietly, a box that carried the truth they had buried for years. As Maya and Jordan sat by their small apartment window that night, she whispered, "By this time tomorrow, they'll know everything." Jordan squeezed her hand gently. "Whatever happens, you'll still have me." Maya smiled faintly. "That's all I need." The snow began to fall again, soft and silent, covering the streets in white. Somewhere far away, a delivery truck moved through the night, carrying a box that would change everything. Christmas morning arrived at the Reynolds mansion. The house glowed with lights, the scent of pine and cinnamon filled the air, and soft music played in the background. Evelyn stood near the fireplace, dressed elegantly as always, holding a glass of champagne. Caleb and Grace were laughing, handing out beautifully wrapped gifts. Everything looked perfect, at least on the surface. Then Grace noticed a large box sitting under the tree. It was wrapped in brown paper with a simple red ribbon. A small tag read, "To the Reynolds family. From Maya." The room went quiet. Evelyn froze, her smile fading. Caleb frowned and muttered, "Why would she send something? After everything?" Grace hesitated. "Should we open it?" Evelyn's hand trembled slightly as she reached for the box. "It's probably just some dramatic stunt," she said, trying to sound calm. But curiosity got the better of her. She untied the ribbon, lifted the lid, and pulled out a thick handmade book tied with string. The first page was a photo, all of them smiling together from years ago. Under it, Maya had written, "The last time we all looked happy, before truth became the enemy." Evelyn's face tightened. She turned the page. There were more pictures, each one with small notes in Maya's handwriting. One showed a family dinner from long ago. The caption read, "Mom, this was the night Dad found out Caleb forged his signature. You told me to stay silent." The room went completely still. Caleb's jaw tightened. "That's a lie," he snapped. But Evelyn's hand shook as she turned to the next page. A letter from their father's lawyer, carefully placed in a plastic sleeve. She read the lines quietly, her eyes widening. The letter proved that Maya had been innocent all along. She hadn't stolen anything. Caleb had. Grace looked from her mother to her brother, her voice trembling. "Mom, you lied?" Evelyn couldn't speak. Her face lost all color. Caleb stood up suddenly, his chair scraping the floor. "She's trying to destroy us. This is manipulation," he shouted, his face red with anger. But Evelyn's silence said more than words ever could. Caleb threw his napkin onto the table and stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind him. Grace picked up the book with shaking hands, tears filling her eyes as she turned to the last few pages. There were pictures of her and Maya as little girls, smiling together. Beneath one, Maya had written, "Grace, you were always kind. I hope you still are." Grace's tears began to fall. She flipped to the final page, a sealed envelope labeled for Mom. Evelyn hesitated but slowly opened it. Inside was Maya's final letter. Her voice broke slightly as she read it out loud. "Mom, I've spent years trying to understand why love had to hurt so much in our home. Why truth was something to be hidden, and feelings were things to be ashamed of. I wanted to hate you, but I can't. I see now that your need for control was fear. Fear of being seen as weak." Evelyn's lips trembled. Grace continued reading softly. "All I ever wanted was one honest Christmas. So I gave you the truth. It's the only gift left to give." For a long moment, no one said anything. The sound of the clock ticking filled the silence. Evelyn's eyes were wet, but she quickly wiped them before Grace could see. Grace closed the book gently and whispered, "She just wanted to be loved." Evelyn sat down slowly, her shoulders heavy. "She wanted peace," she said quietly, her voice cracking for the first time. The grand Christmas party continued outside the living room. Guests laughed, music played, and lights twinkled. But inside, the Reynolds family sat in silence, surrounded by the weight of truth. Grace hugged the memory book tightly against her chest. She felt guilt, sadness, and a strange sense of relief, because at last someone had dared to say what no one else would. Upstairs, Evelyn sat alone by the window, holding Maya's letter in her lap. For years, she had built her life around control, keeping her family's secrets buried. But now, everything had been uncovered by the one person she thought she had silenced forever. As snow began to fall outside, Evelyn whispered to herself, "Maya, what have I done?" Meanwhile, miles away, in her small apartment, Maya sat quietly with Jordan, sipping tea. The lights on their tiny Christmas tree sparkled softly. Her phone buzzed with a message from the delivery service. Package delivered successfully. She smiled faintly, a single tear rolling down her cheek. "It's done," she whispered. Jordan took her hand gently. "How do you feel?" Maya looked out the window at the falling snow. "Free," she said softly. Back at the mansion, the truth lay open on the table. A simple book, a daughter's pain, and a gift that had finally broken the silence of a perfect-looking family. Days later, Maya's phone rang while she was making tea. She looked at the screen and froze. It was Grace. Her heart began to beat faster. For a moment, she thought about not answering. But something inside her told her to pick up. "Maya." Grace's voice was soft and shaky. It's me. Maya held the phone close. Hi, Grace. There was silence for a few seconds before Grace finally spoke. I'm so sorry, she whispered. For everything. For believing them. For not standing up for you. You didn't deserve any of it. Maya closed her eyes. She could hear the pain in her sister's voice, and it made her heart ache, not with anger this time, but with sadness and understanding. Thank you, Grace, she said gently. That means more than you know. Grace sniffed. Mom won't talk about it. She locked herself in her room after reading your letter. Caleb left yesterday. He said he needed to clear his head. Maya sighed softly. I didn't mean to break the family apart, she said. You didn't, Grace said quickly. The truth did. That line hit Maya deeply. She smiled faintly, tears forming in her eyes. Maybe you're right. They spoke for a little while longer, about childhood memories, about their father, about the kind of peace they both wanted. When they finally hung up, Maya sat quietly by the window. Jordan came over and handed her a cup of tea. Everything okay? He asked. Maya nodded slowly. Grace called. She apologized. Jordan smiled gently. That's good news. Yes, Maya said softly. She finally saw me. Even if Mom can't admit it. They sat in silence for a moment, watching snow fall outside. The world looked calm, clean, and new. Maya felt a peace she hadn't known in years. For the first time, her heart wasn't heavy. She wasn't waiting for anyone's approval anymore. Later that night, she opened her laptop and stared at the family email thread. The same one that had once been filled with cold messages and silence. She began to type, her fingers steady. Wishing you the peace I finally found. She read the words twice before pressing send. Then she closed her laptop and exhaled deeply, as if releasing years of pain with one breath. From that moment, she decided she would no longer chase forgiveness. She didn't need her mother's apology or Caleb's guilt to heal. She had already forgiven them in her heart. The following week, Maya returned to work, lighter than before. Her co-workers noticed the difference. Her smile was easier, her laughter real. When Lila, the foster teen she once helped, stopped by her office, she said, "You look happier, Miss Maya." Maya smiled. "I am," she said simply. That evening, as she and Jordan decorated their small living room with fairy lights, he looked at her and said, "You did it. You let go." Maya nodded. "For years I thought family was about blood. But now I know, it's about peace, honesty, and love that doesn't hurt." Jordan pulled her close, and they stood quietly, watching the lights flicker. This Christmas was different. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And for Maya, that was enough. She had spent years trying to be seen, loved, and accepted. But now she understood something powerful. Sometimes, the greatest gift you can give yourself is freedom. On New Year's Eve, Maya was sitting on the couch with Jordan, watching the lights from nearby fireworks flash through the window. The year was ending quietly, and for the first time in a long while, she felt calm inside. Then there was a knock at the door. Maya looked at Jordan, surprised. "Who could that be at this hour?" she said. When she opened the door, she found a small brown box sitting on the doormat. Her name was written neatly on the top, and the sender's name made her heart skip, Grace. Maya carefully carried the box inside and sat down. Her hands trembled slightly as she opened it. Inside was a photo frame wrapped in tissue paper and a small folded note. She unwrapped the frame first. It was an old family photo. Her, Grace, Caleb, their mother and father. It had been taken many years ago, before the arguments, before the lies. But something was different this time. In the old version of the photo, Maya had been cropped out. Now Grace had restored it, reframed it so that Maya was right there in the center, smiling. Her eyes filled with tears. She opened the note and read Grace's handwriting. "You were never erased, just hidden. I'm sorry." Maya pressed the paper to her chest, tears rolling down her cheeks. For the first time in years, she didn't feel forgotten. She didn't feel like the unwanted one. She felt seen. Jordan watched her quietly, then reached for her hand. "What's in the box?" he asked softly. Maya smiled through her tears and showed him the photo. "It's a gift from Grace," she whispered. He looked at her, smiling gently. "You okay?" Maya nodded, wiping her eyes. "Yes," she said with a trembling smile. "I think this year. I'm finally home." As midnight arrived, fireworks lit up the sky outside. Maya leaned against Jordan, holding the photo close to her heart. The true gift wasn't revenge or apology, it was peace. It was freedom. And this time, it was hers to keep. Hey besties, Two Hearts, thanks so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to like, drop a comment, and hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories. See you next time. Waving hand sparkles.